And it is really important, certainly for editorial, that it just looks really natural and not too heavy.
Yeah.
When it's being photographed.
It's very kind of flawless look, isn't it, to go for? Yeah.
Just going to stipple the skin. Get that in. Because this is quite a fresh look, I'm just going to not necessarily do the eyes first. I'm just going to go in natural base, and then I'll just go round underneath with a bit of concealer after. Okay. Just going to add that sort of dimension and definition just on this socket area here. Is when the eye is open and you're actually putting it up into the eye area there, whereas this way you'll get the same effect. Just really pushing that in, taking it along here, really gently. A little bit of that colour corrector, mixing a little bit of the concealer around before I put that brighter colour, working this area top. So what I tend to do, certainly when I'm working a stronger colour, I will add a lot of the colour on this bottom lip, just so I can quickly do another look. Certainly if it's a beauty story, I'd need to be able to go in and quickly remove parts of the makeup. I'm just going to go over where I've put that moisturiser, and this will just help really soak up any excess before I go in with your base. That's not too bad because that's soaked in really well. That's good. And we're going to go for just a really lovely beauty editorial. So keep your skin really nice and fresh. Working with some brown colours on the eye, and then I thought for you just a really lovely pop of pink, you know.
Love a pop of pink or pop of colour.
If you close your eyes, soak up on the lid. I'm going to pop a primer on your lid as well. I always like to do that. And it is really important, certainly for editorial, that it just looks really natural and not too heavy.
Yeah.
When it's being photographed.
It's very kind of flawless look, isn't it, to go for? Yeah.
With this brush. Yeah, that's ideal. That's good. So normally I'd go in with a little bit of corrector, but actually on your skin, very clear. So I'm going to probably mix a bit of the corrector with a bit of concealer, but just a very small amount. So I'm going to work a little bit of base in. Just going to stipple the skin. Get that in. Because this is quite a fresh look, I'm just going to not necessarily do the eyes first. I'm just going to go in natural base, and then I'll just go round underneath with a bit of concealer after. Okay, that's good. good shade for you. Lovely. Got beautiful golden undertone. It's almost like a golden sort of caramel, isn't it? Gorgeous.
You
don't need an awful lot. I'm just going to really work that in. So I'm just going to stipple that in. So it's a really lovely fresh base. So if you pop your head, that's lovely. And I will go back into certain areas, but actually with just this one colour, just stippling it on. Just going from my palette, taking a really small amount on the brush. So you can see there, just stippling it in, working it in the centre of the face. And then what I'll do is just go in, probably mix a little bit of concealer with that foundation and then work that underneath the eyes. But I'm going to go straight onto brows and eyes. That's great. If you look towards me, it is brilliant. That's lovely. Beautiful. And let's go in with your amazing brows. Incredible.
Thank you.
Just going to go in and just brush up your brows. And I'm going to keep them fairly natural. You've got amazing brows here. You know, they're a real key feature. You can see here, it's still a darker, but it's a little bit softer. So I'm just going to go in, work just in between the brows, and really just working it in light feathering motions. And if you go in a little bit too heavy, just go in and then tap that down. You can see there, just filling, but really doing it in a really soft way. See there. And you can also go in with a little bit of soap if you wanted to, or a gel. So I'm working in just a little bit of soap at the top. And it just gives it that really lovely clean. You don't need too much, just do the other side. Just really light feathering motion. Brush back up. Same this side. Get that in. Then brush up. You can see there. A primer now. Just on your lid. I'm going to add a little bit more. Pop your head, that's great. Just pressing down with my fingers. And so for this look, we're going to go quite natural. So I'm going to go with these sort of tones and then maybe add a little bit of sheen as well. Just going to add that sort of definition and definition just on this socket area here. You can see sometimes I'll go in with a slightly slanted brush as well, just to push that in. You can see there it just creates a really nice socket area to find. Going on this side. I find building up the colour, then going from one eye to the other, so I get a little bit more of a balance. See there. Working that in. And then going in with this flatter brush. And I'm just going to take a smaller brush now. And I want to work this just along the lash line here, just pushing that same colour, working it all the way along. Same this side. Just tapping that colour in. Because I want the eyes to look fairly natural, I'm just going to work in a bit of liner. I'm going to work it in between the lashes. So this does feel a little bit strange, Liz. Just going to work that in between. Like so. Taking it all the way along. And it really doesn't matter if it is a little bit messy, because what I tend to do is then work in over the top, slightly darker shadow, and then blend that. So it's really working it to the base of the lash. If you open your eyes for me, that's great, and you'll be able to see it just creates a little bit of depth there. Going back in. And this way it just makes it look really, really like it's part of that lash line. Just really working that all the way along. Like so. And then going back in with a darker shadow over the top. And then just merging that in. If you open your eyes for me, perfect. And close again. And then I just want to take just a little bit of that colour just slightly out. Like so. And then if you open for, be able to see the difference. And I'll just do the same on this side. Just working it really closely. Because I really think that tight lining is great, but some people can feel quite uncomfortable. And what I mean by tight lining is when the eye is open and you're actually putting it up into the eye area there. Whereas this way you'll get the same effect. And just really pushing that in, taking it along here. Really, really gently working it the whole way along, and then taking a little bit of that shadow and really blending that out. Doing the same on this eye. Especially when it's being photographed, because you can sometimes then see gaps. So it's really important to really push that in, and then it just gives a really nice natural silhouette to the eyes like that. Just going to make sure you are even both sides. Just take a little bit of that colour. Now work just underneath the eyes. I like to just sweep up, just clean underneath. Up, and then a bit of concealer. So working my concealer brush, a little bit of concealer there, and then taking it just on that inner area here to really brighten the eyes. And then if you look up for me, that's great. What I like doing as well, you can see here on my palette, my colours, I like mixing in this sort of colour here. It's really sort of almost like a salmon-y kind of colour, just to go in and correct the area. See, it's working that in. And then I will go in with a bit of a buffing brush. Same this side. Just working a little bit of that colour corrector. Mixing a little bit of the concealer. So pressing that. Gently tapping. And then obviously you can go in with your finger, just pressing down. Go in and just work that in, just puffing up. Just working in, just a little bit more. This area here, it's a bit further down. Just going to press the rest in, just underneath, like so. Work. Go. Play. And if you look towards me, that's great. It's good. And if you look up, just working all the way underneath, just pushing that. And you'll be able to see it just creates that beautiful shade area. Got amazing eyes to make up. Beautiful. Just gonna work like so. Great. And if you look up again for me. So it's going with a little bit more. Just and then the other side. eyes for me. I'm going to blend just a little bit around that socket area again. I'm just going to go in to shade a little bit there, because I'm going to work in a little bit of highlight as well. The eyes, you can see there, if you open, then just going to add just a small amount, just this area here. Okay, just make sure that's really nice and balanced on both sides. Lovely. It's great. And you can see there, so I'm just going to add just a little bit of warmth now to Liz's skin. Let's go in, just buff this in a little bit on the forehead, just working it in. Same this side, if you pop your head in. A little bit more warmth before putting some blush on. I'm just going to add just a small amount of base as well. So going back to the foundation, and then I love working that in. Just see here where I want to cover a little bit more, so that area, and then buffing it around, pressing it in, like so. Just going to work a little bit on this side. It's looking good. Just really buffing it in, getting it in, pressing it in. Same on this side, just make sure that it's even on both sides. It's going to go in. Getting that in. And a little bit on the chin. On this side. And again. Lovely if you look down for me. Don't worry if you need to blink, just blink. So I'm going to add, just going to go in with some nice sheen on the eyes. You close your eyes and I'm just going to press that colour and I prefer going in actually with these sort of sheen colours. I prefer going in with almost like a synthetic concealer brush, so I can really press that. Just working that in, and it's just to really give that beautiful highlight. And then I'm just gonna go in and soften that a little bit there, and then you can always go in the inner area to highlight. It just balances out, and around this area here, just working around and then pressing it in. And then what I love doing is taking this colour and then I'll soften out with another brush. See here, it just adds that definition around before I put that brighter colour. Working this area. And then I just want to work a little bit here, just slightly underneath, and really blending. So what I tend to do, certainly when I'm working with a stronger colour, I will add a lot of the colour on this bottom lip area, taking it down, just taking it slightly over where I put that lip line, and then if you can press your lipstick, and then that will just distribute that colour to the top lip. Then working, and then if you press your lips again for me lightly. With that bigger brush, so. A little bit of hydration to it, bit of lip balm, pop of colour on the cheeks. Working, knock off that excess. For Editorial, I wouldn't spray the face with setting spray, just so I can quickly do another look. Certainly if it was a beauty story, I'd need to be able to